And so, after much speculation from the community, both as a whole and definitely here on the channel, about a possible January update for GT Sport, we finally have the silhouettes arrived from Kaz, of course, of the 8 new vehicles that are coming in January. Now, the pack is dropping, I believe it was on the 17th, he said, and as far as I know, we're not aware of the track that's going to come along with this. If a track does come, we presume that it will, because it usually does, but for now, of course, we're going to predict the 8 vehicles, and of course, you could put your predictions down below as well, and then we'll see which of them turn out to be correct, usually when they release the trailer, like the night before the update, for instance, but even if they don't release a trailer, we'll find out soon enough. So, as usual, we'll work from the top left and work our way down. So, first of all, this is a hugely significant one, because this is a vehicle which I was specifically there in person in London in 2015 when a member of the audience asked Kaz, would we see TVR in GT Sport, and he said no. Now, of course, things change, and it was great that it did, because it is coming back. The TVR Tuscan is coming back to GT Sport, as we can see from the first image. And I'm hugely happy about that. The Tuscan was already a premium, so it's not too surprising that they chose that one rather than one of the other models instead. And as far as it coming back at all, I never predicted that it would, more so because of the brand coming back or not coming back rather than the car being a premium. So it's very cool that the Tuscan is going to return. As far as usability, well, who knows, it actually could prove to be a very useful car given that it's around the N400 region anyway. So it could be up there with stuff like the Porsche GT3 potentially, because TVRs are very competitive when used correctly. Next up, we've got another sports car, another convertible 2-seater sports car, the BMW Z8. This is, as far as I'm concerned, pretty obviously, you can see from the front grille and the headlight arrangement. Now this one, I'll be completely transparent, I've never been a fan of the Z8. I don't really get why people love it so much. It's such an expensive car in real life, in the game. It was a Bond car, but sure, who really cares? So was the Citroen 2CV. So this one, it's kind of a mixed one for me. It's cool that it's coming back. I'm sure there are people who do love it, and it's nice to have a new car, regardless of what it is, but I don't plan to be using it that much. Next one, this is the one which a lot of people have been kind of stumped on. I definitely have a prediction for this one, and it's one which I've actually talked about indirectly quite a lot on the channel when stuff like vintage cars come up, because I think this is the 2013 GT award-winning Aston Martin DB3S. I used to refer to it as the DBR1, because that was the car I thought had won the award, but when I actually checked it out, it was the DB3S. If you Google it, you can pretty clearly see the similarities here. You've got that tiny speedster-style windscreen, the big haunches over the hips at the back, the huge round headlights, and of course that distinguished grille at the front. It's got a little bit of a Jaguar XK-SS vibe to it in the silhouette, or even a Cobra, or even a Cunningham, like a Cunningham C4R, but I'm saying it's the Aston Martin DB3S. And I would not be at all surprised if we have a new addition to the 20 million credit club. Now, I don't necessarily think this one will be 20 million. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 10 or more, but if it is 20, I think it will be appropriate. It's that kind of car anyway. Doubtless it will be in Group X, just like all the others. So I'm looking forward to having a new high roller. It's been a while since we had a genuine new addition to the high rollers lineup that wasn't featured in a previous game. Next up, we've got another obvious one, the Dino. My least favourite Ferrari, probably, of all the ones featured in Gran Turismo. A ton of people love the Dino, though, and for usability, it's definitely a good one, because it's so much less powerful, if that's even the correct way of saying it, which it isn't. It's less powerful than pretty much any other Ferrari that has been in Gran Turismo, so of course it's good for low-level events, it's a good classic, it's a good sports car. I'm just not a fan of it overall. It's kind of the watered-down Ferrari to some degree. The next one is another car which a lot of people have been asking for, and doubtless, now that this one is coming back, people will move to the next one, the 370Z, because this is clearly a Nissan 350Z, which again, there was a premium version, not at all surprising that it's coming back. I believe I included this in my predictions, or at least one of my predictions video. The next one will please some people, probably disappoint others for the same reason. It's a new Porsche, the Porsche 356A. I'm going to say it's the Speedster by the look of it. It looks like it might have the roof up, kind of like a Targa top it looks like in the silhouette. And the reason why I say that people are going to be mixed is because people always ask for more Porsches, for obvious reasons, make use of the license, but at the same time people are going to be like, well, I didn't want an old Porsche, I wanted a new one, I wanted a Carrera GT or a 962 or a Cayenne or a Panamera. Of course we do, we all want those, but this is the one we're getting. It's cool, again, to have another classic, and it's not a particularly powerful one, so this could actually be a really good N100 car, which for a Porsche is going to be new territory, and it will just expand the ways in which they can potentially dominate the game when it comes to road car racing. Next up, this is one of the happiest for the pack for me, easily alongside the TVR, the Integra. I've said for months, in fact almost as long as the game has been out, that I wanted the DC2 Integra to come back and to finally, and it's really ironic when you think about this, to finally be a premium, because we had 3 of them in the previous game, 3 DC2s and 3 DC5s, but one of the DC5s was a premium, and I do think that one will come back as well. But I'm really happy to see the DC2 return, and it looks from the front end that it's my personal favourite version, the Japanese market, with the single headlights rather than that hideous projector headlight American Acura version, which I cannot stand. So I'm very happy to see the DC2 return. It's going to be a track monster. Let's just say it as it is. It's going to be great. One of the best front-wheel drive cars ever built. I would argue the best front-wheel drive car ever built, and my favourite JDM car. So of course I'm happy to see it come back. And last, but definitely not least, pretty recognisable shape. It's a Mustang, of course, a 65 Mustang. The only real question is it the Ford or the Shelby? And I happen to think it's probably, given the past of the franchise and the fact that there was a premium, I think it's the Shelby GT350. There were, of course, 2 different versions. There was the GT350 and the GT350R, I believe. One was like the track version. This is probably the one that was a premium, which wasn't the hardcore track version. But either way, it's going to be cool to have another classic and another muscle car, because there aren't a huge amount of muscle cars in the game. So to have one that's a little bit more nimble, like a Mustang, slightly less power but also low weight, that's a pretty good one to have. So overall, it's actually a pretty good pack, I would say, starting the year off right. For me, as I said, the TVR and the Integra are the 2 guaranteed ones that I'm going to love. And as far as the one that I'm most anticipating, well, that one's kind of split between the Porsche 356, which I have some anticipation for, but especially that Aston Martin, the DBR3, or the DB3S, I should say. I'm looking forward to that one. I think that's actually going to be a pretty interesting classic to drive, because it's older than some of the classics that we've already got, and it's definitely going to be a high roller. It's just a question of how much it's going to be. So will they go down like the TZ2 route of 10 million? Will they go down the Daytona route of 15? Or will they go for the full 20? So ultimately, those are my predictions for the 8 vehicles. I think this is pretty much a dead cert this month. Pretty easy ones to look out for and to recognise. And as I said, we'll have to see what the track turns out to be. So of course, if you are new to this channel, make sure you stick around, because I'll be reviewing all of the cars. I'll be reviewing the entire pack even when it comes out, and doing tunes for all of them. So that's it for this breakdown. Of course, I'll see you next time, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.